and welcome to One Step Closer Fitness. Today's video I want to talk about nutrition and one particular aspect of nutrition. Now, as we all know, nutrition is ultimately the most important part of any fitness and health regime, and I could do a 10-hour video on nutrition and still only scratch the surface. Now today I want to talk about calorie counting. It's a topic that when I approach it with people seem to have an instinct to just not engage in the whole notion of calorie counting. They just think instinctively it's something that's going to require a lot of effort, a lot of work, and ultimately won't be worth their time. But it's the exact opposite. Once you get into it, after a day or two, it becomes quite easy. Again, once you keep it simple, and from my own experience, it's something I've used in the past to great effect, and it's something that I use on a regular basis when I find myself getting a little bit off track with the food, and if my weight hasn't moved in a certain direction, I'll go back to calorie counting, and it normally pushes me through any plateaus I may experience. Now, to start off with, the easiest thing to do is just go online and put in calorie maintenance calculator, and any one of the top 4 or 5 picks, any one of those will do. Ultimately, they're all going to give you the same, within 100, 150 calories, they're going to give you the same results. So it's going to look for some very basic information. It's going to look for your age, it's going to look for your weight, it's going to look for your height, and it's also going to look for your average activity level throughout the week. So I would recommend just putting in little or no exercise or a sedentary lifestyle. So for example, someone with, we'll say a 40-year-old female, 5'5", 180 pounds, leading a sedentary lifestyle with little or no activity, what the results would probably come back for someone in that situation is in and around 1800 calories. Now, I see people in the gym all the time making a great effort, being very diligent towards their workouts, and ultimately they're not getting the results they want. And this is because they're not paying the due diligence to their food. Now, they may be eating healthy, but unknowns to themselves, through no fault of their own, they may still be overeating on a daily basis, even with healthy food. So someone, for example, the 40-year-old female, if her calorie intake is 1800 calories with little or no exercise, if she eats healthy but she's eating 2000 calories a day, ultimately she's going to gain weight. That's just the way it is. You can overeat in anything. Everything has a caloric consequence. Now, there is the notion of certain foods are free foods. You can overeat in broccoli. Now, it would take quite a lot of broccoli to overeat, but everything that has a calorie has a caloric consequence. So the 40-year-old female, 1800 calories per day is her maintenance. Ideally then, to lose weight, what that person would have to do is drop the maintenance calories by 10 to 15%. So you come down to somewhere in between 1500 calories a day. Now, you can go into a little bit more in-depth in terms of the maintenance calories for someone in that situation then who's exercising vigorously a couple of times a week, or maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Their calorie maintenance may be 2100 calories. So again, you drop it by maybe 15%, and you come down to somewhere between 1800 calories per day. Now, where the little bit of work comes in is, so long as you've got internet access, and if you're watching me, obviously you have, but where the work comes in is you just need to buy a little food scale and a measuring container for your milks and whatever liquids you're taking during the day. The first 2 to 3 days does take a little bit of effort and a little bit of commitment. I'm not advocating to anyone to use any of the fitness apps that do the calorie counting for you, because one of the things I want you to take away from this is, and the people who do these applications aren't going to like me for it, is that there is potential for a lot of discrepancies between what you may have in your hand and what the app is telling you. For example, if you go to a service station or a deli counter and you order a hot chicken roll and you try and input the closest option for that hot chicken roll into the application, the difference between what the application tells you and what the chicken roll in your hand is could be 150, could even be 200 calories. Now again, 200 calories mightn't sound like a whole lot, but if there's that discrepancy, for example, every day of the week, within 2 or 3 weeks, that's going to make a massive difference, and that's going to throw you completely off sync. So my recommendation is go with the calories on the food you buy. So if you have your packet of brown rice, it's going to give you the calorie details for 100 grams, and if you decide to have 60 grams of the brown rice for your dinner with your veg or with your chicken, well then just calculate it on the basis of what it says in the pack. That way you have complete control over the caloric intake for the day. Okay, bananas, broccoli, fruit and veg, they don't have any calorie information on them, but it's just a case then of just going online, and if you're going to have a banana, just put in calories in one banana. It might be 90 calories, it might be 100 calories. Again, going back to the whole idea of keeping it simple, I would recommend anyone to do this for 2 or 3 weeks. But in terms of keeping it simple, don't try for the first week to try and have 3 or 4 different types of dinners. You're only going to throw yourself off course. Keep it simple. It may seem boring, but keep the same foods roughly for the first week. Then if you want to change it up for the second week, by all means, take away your brown rice, put in your sweet potato or your white potato, whatever you want. Change your beef or your chops for your chicken in the second week, but on a week per week basis, try and keep the foods of a very similar nature. So it'll just give you the greatest chance of being able to keep going and keep track of the calories. Now, ultimately what you'll find is it'll give you great knowledge in terms of the calories you're eating per day. So an average gym goer going to the gym 4, 5, 6 times a week, trying to eat healthy, they may realize that instead of being close to what their calorie maintenance is for the day, they may be 200 or 300 calories out. Now, 2 to 300 calories may only be 2 bananas and an apple. It may still be healthy food that you're overeating, but at least it will tell you exactly where you're at. And then 3 weeks down the road, once you've done it and you've kind of given yourself the best chance, and you've stuck to the 2 or 3 weeks of calorie counting, it should by then have given you a great overview in terms of the calories in all the foods you're eating, and it'll just give you a greater appreciation as to what you are eating, as opposed to what you are eating vis-a-vis what you should be eating. Trust me, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. Once you get past the first 2 to 3 days, you get into a routine. Keep the foods clean, keep the foods simple. Just give yourself the best possible chance. And lastly, I'll just leave on an example of how easy it can be to overeat on something that you may think is of very little consequence, but peanut butter. I like peanut butter. I tend to have my banana sandwiches, brown bread and peanut butter. That was until recently when I just looked at the caloric quantity in 100 grams of peanut butter, and you're looking at approximately 580 to 600 calories in 100 grams of peanut butter. Now, the peanut butter some of the brands will have a good amount of fiber, very high in protein, and it'll have a good amount of unsaturated fats. So it is a healthy option, it is a healthy spread, but in terms of being calorically dense, it's quite high up there. So instead of maybe having 2 banana sandwiches a couple times a week, I might just have 1 banana sandwich, because ultimately even something that may seem quite insignificant, a peanut butter spread on your sandwich, even that can catch up with you if you don't keep a track of it. So hopefully, to anyone watching this, if you do decide to proceed with 2 to 3 weeks of calorie counting, trust me, it will be worth it. Take your weight at the start of the first week and take your weight at the end of the second week or the third week. If you do undercut your calories, your maintenance, whatever it is, 2,000 calories, if you do cut it to 1,700, whatever it is, cut it down, your maintenance calories, by about 15%. If you do that, you will see results. Trust me. All right, until next time, goodbye.